Re-Zero, Volume 4, Chapter 2, Part 4, Blessings, Reunions, and Promises. The orange-haired girl gazed at the back alley indifferently and muttered, "At first, I thought the disorder of such a grimy place held promise, but now that I am accustomed to it, it is nothing to draw my eye. It is quite useless for assuaging my boredom." She raised the hem of her dress and shook it, a blunt expression of her insufferable displeasure. "I don't think the royal capital's designer drew up these streets to be exciting," Subaru remarked. "This world exists for my sake, so should not everything in it serve to amuse me? I have no idea what the man who approves such boring streets was thinking. Royalty should have a keenly discerning eye. Lack thereof seems to have been decidedly fatal of late." Just hearing her statement set Subaru's heart racing. His head whipped back and forth to see if anyone had overheard. That's a pretty arrogant thing to say right at the king's door, you know." The girl snorted at Subaru's caution, or rather, cowardice. "A dull reaction and a futile concern. It would seem that you, too, are part of the common rabble. I'm well aware I'm a 100% common, ordinary, straight-down-the-middle guy, and I'm fine with it. I don't want to waste any more time hanging around you anyway. The girl who's waiting for me will hate me." "What absurdity! It is an insult for you to think about anyone besides me during the time we are together. I may be accompanied now, but I think nothing at all of walking home." "Well, you should think about it. Being with you is miserable." He was the chaperone for a girl who seemed to be arrogance incarnate. Subaru's self-pity flared up again at how he'd once again thrown himself under a bus in no time flat for the sake of someone he'd never even seen before. But he remarked to himself, whatever. They were strangers to begin with. Neither knew the other's name. Once they reached the main street, they'd never see each other again. He wasn't magnanimous enough to shut off his own feelings of discomfort to try to make friends with just anyone. In Subaru's book, forcing yourself to like something you hate was among the most distasteful things around. That Subaru had decided this, yet had no intention of leaving the girl on her own until they'd exited to the main street, was evidence as to what kind of person he was. Coincidentally, Old Man Rom was not accompanying them. He abhorred going out onto the main street, so he led them to an adjacent alley before heading off. Subaru somewhat regretted the loss of his company, but while I was thinking about all that, here we are. Just ahead of a bend, he could finally see the bright western sun over the road. Subaru beheld the uninterrupted flow of people passing to and fro, relieved that his suffering was finally at an end. Now that we're out of there, we're total strangers again. I have to look for my cutie pie companion, so I don't want to get into any more trouble like hanging around you. I'm sure your escort has been desperate to find you, so if you stay put, I'm sure you'll meet up with him soon." With the moment of their parting so close, Subaru vented out all the resentment that had built up during that time. Naturally, the girl was poised to respond, but instead, she halted and crossed her arms in silence. "What, nothing to say? Okay, maybe I went a little too far, but I can't change how I feel. Things haven't exactly gone smoothly, but if you try a little prudence now and again, I'm sure." Subaru was simultaneously excusing his resentful words and lecturing her when she sneered back. I think I pity you just a little. Whether you are aware of it or not, you so thoroughly play the fool. It is no virtue. It is merely a thin shell within which you conceal your weakness. It is as repellent to the eye as your face." The first part sounds serious, But that last part was definitely making fun of my looks, wasn't it? If you intend to maintain the game to the very end, it is no concern of mine. Whatever the girl wanted to say wasn't registering with Subaru. Consistent with her bearing and actions, she made statements without any consideration for the comprehension of others. No doubt he wouldn't get a straight answer even if he pursued the matter further. With that in mind, Subaru gave up on speaking to the girl further. Or perhaps telling himself the girl was incomprehensible was his way of avoiding the truth, but he wouldn't receive any more answers here to begin with. After all, the instant the two exited the alley, they were greeted by a voice, Amelia's voice. I finally found you! Unlike the back alley, the bright rays of the sun illuminated everything on the main street. The sunshine dazzled and burned his eyes. That radiance haloed her white robes as she looked at Subaru. Her elegant brows were furrowed. Her fingertips relentlessly toyed with her sparkling hair. Her gloomy violet eyes quivered as her lips loosened in slight relief. It was plain as day how much she'd worried about Subaru. Subaru both deeply regretted making her worry and was happy she had worried. His expression brightened at the reunion, unexpectedly but eagerly awaited. Ah, Amelia. But as Amelia let out a soft sigh, he felt that something was wrong. He began to call her name, but stopped when he saw someone beside her, a male someone with a redly chest. Wait! Don't go flirting with Amelia Town when I'm not around! Subaru dashed forward to put himself between the man and Amelia, but his glare at the silhouetted man froze in the face of a torrent of sharp words. Hey, little missy. I think your guy here has a screw loose. Is he all right? The chummy voice addressing Amelia was a bit hard to make out. It was only natural, since the speaker's head was covered in a full-face helmet. The jet-black helm, meant to conceal his entire face, looked highly refined, but the headpiece alone wasn't what made him stand out. That description is misleading. He stood out because the helmet actually was alone. More worried about an interloper than excited for your reunion? What a fascinatingly complicated sense of masculinity. Well, you've got a pretty horrible fashion sense, don't you? And you've got quite some lip toward your seniors. I'm an easygoing old man, so I'll let it slide. But someone else might chop your head off. Subaru gaped as the man tapped a finger against the nape of his neck in obvious amusement. Yes, the bare nape of his neck. For while the man wore a pitch-black helm over his head, beneath he wore only a shabby mantle and an open linen vest and shorts combo that made him look like some bandit. His shoes were sandals with split-toe socks. Behind his waist, he carried a handsome sword with a fat blade resembling a Chinese crescent sword. Everything clashed with everything else. Subaru's tracksuit was no less out of place, but the man's attire was surely the greater offense to common sense. Subaru tentatively asked Amelia his burning question. Amelia-tan, don't tell me this guy's outfit passes for normal here in the capital. Don't worry, Subaru. I'm as shocked by what he's wearing as you are. The man erupted into laughter and promptly divulged what he was doing with Amelia in the first place. Oh, yeah. She was really shocked. It was so cute. I said I was looking for someone, and I was pretty surprised when she said she'd come along, though. Subaru put a hand on Amelia's shoulder and stared at where the man's eyes probably were. Amelia-tan's kind-heartedness is a real virtue, but you still have to pick who you help. Why do you think a poisonous mushroom looks so bad? It's saying, I'm poisonous, danger, eat me and you'll die. That's to stop damage before it happens. The man replied, You're making it sound like I'm a dangerous guy. That's horrible. Back where I'm from, One look at you, and they'd bring all the local school kids together and tell them about kidnappers. Subaru blew off the man's flippant comment and returned to Amelia. Anyway, Amelia-tan, like I'm always telling you, watch out for men in cars. Men are wolves, so you can't show them that defenseless, adorable, smiling face. Are you upset? No, I'm just thinking that sounds more like something I've said to you than something you said to me, Subaru. No offense. Subaru was tempted to cover his face, regretting that his slip of the tongue had only heaped more trouble onto him. But the coming lecture was mercifully interrupted by an outside party. The orange-haired girl stepped forward and pompously declared, How perceptive of you to wait for me at my destination. Your loyalty is admirable, Al. Her words made the man, Al, laugh out loud. To be honest, I want to say it was dumb luck I happened to be here, but that'll just put you in a bad mood. I agree with you, Princess. Yup, it's just like you said. He stood beside the girl and ruffled her orange hair with the palm of his hand. Apparently, by sheer coincidence, the person the lady here was looking for and the person I was looking for were together. Maybe you could call it fate. So, it's like the saying, even chance meetings are the result of karma? No thanks. I don't want any threads of fate except red ones with Amelia-tan. There was a momentary pause before Al's reply. This guy's got quite a mouth on him. But Al's laughter and the light wave of his hand wiped Subaru's doubts away. All his actions had been with his right hand the entire time, for the man didn't have a left hand. So the man had one arm, a pitch-black helmet, and a haphazard, threadbare outfit. Judging from his tone of voice and his appearance below the neck, he's probably a bit more than twice Subaru's age. In spite of that, he didn't come off much like Subaru Sr., sporting an attitude as light as his clothes. To put it kindly, he was easy to get along with. To put it rudely, he was an adult that needed to pull himself together. Subaru commented, With Puck there as your guardian, I'm wondering why he let you go around with this guy. Puck replied to Subaru's question telepathically. Leah spotted him looking in the garbage bins on the side of the street as soon as she stepped out of the garrison. Her meddling happens at lightning speed, so I didn't have any time to stop it. Oh, come on. Subaru's reply couldn't hide his exhaustion. True, Amelia's soft-hearted nature was nothing new, but Al looking for his traveling companion in trash bins was completely off the rails. He wondered if the man had put any funny ideas in her head while they had been alone. Subaru gave Amelia a look of concern when he realized that. Without a word, Amelia had slipped behind Subaru's back as if to avoid the eyes of other people. She pulled down her hood to hide her face again, keeping her voice quiet as if that would erase her presence. Subaru dubiously raised his eyebrows and looked toward the orange-haired girl who seemed the cause of Amelia's misgivings. What? Staring at me? The girl said. Drinking in the beauty you will dearly miss once I depart? Certainly, it is cruel that my beauty is so divine, but it is rude to stare in silence. Sorry, my eyes are in perfect shape. Everyone found who they were looking for, so how about we break this up? Subaru gave the girl, the one Amelia seemed to be hiding from, a dismissive reply as he directed the spotlight away from her and toward Al. Didn't know why, but Amelia seemed adverse to the attention. So Subaru did what he felt would serve her best. Al replied, Well, that's all fine. The decision to shift the talk to me instead of Princess included. I sympathize with you more than a bit. No, a lot. Al shrugged at Subaru's rather earnest words and looked down at the girl. An adult with a broad mind can put up with a lot without getting sick of it. Even a proud cat that's never been housebroken. Maybe I've just gotten old enough to find it adorable. Subaru couldn't see his eyes through the helmet, but he sounded like a father figure protecting his beloved daughter. They get along pretty decently, huh? Thought Subaru vaguely in his mind. He added out loud, "Well, we're gonna head this way. How about you?" The girl replied, "Then I shall go that way as well." "Then we're gonna head the other way." "Then I shall go the other way as—" "Oh, good grief. Are you stalking me? What, did you fall in love with me or something?" "I imagine that this is a joke, and a petty one at that. Lackluster men die in lackluster ways, you know." With great pomp and ceremony, the girl, dispassionate to the bitter end, departed with her companion. Her hesitant steps proclaimed that even though she wanted them to part ways, she found it unamusing to do so. So, with all the invective remaining in him, Subaru said to the departing girl, "Hey, arrogant chick, take this." "What an insolent tongue to direct at me. With one command, Al could take that head off your—" As the girl turned around with some very menacing words on her lips, her red eyes widened. Her hand stretched and caught the pair of apples lazily arcing toward her. "Take 'em. These are bonding apples. In the end, I may have won the bet, but the winner has the right to show mercy like a noble warrior. Take care not to wander into bad guys like that from now on, okay?" "I will have you know that I did not become involved with those men by acting like some foolish child." "Incidentally, why did you get involved with them?" "When I asked them if it was not inexcusable that they should live with such impoverished faces and attire, they became agitated." "You're the one in the wrong there." Subaru sympathized with Dumb, Dumber, and Dumbest all over again, and turned his back to the girl, pulling Amelia along by her arm. A small measure of payback gave him some satisfaction. Amelia kept her head down, and she went along with him. As they quickly departed, they heard one final muffled shout from the street behind them, filled with apparently genuine gratitude. "Little Missy, thanks for coming with me on my search." "Hey, Amelia-tan, they're gone now, so why don't we talk finally?" Subaru asked. Parting ways with the arrogant girl and her guardian, Subaru and Amelia walked together for a while before stopping. He was worried that something he'd said had brought about Amelia's sudden change of behavior. After a brief silence, Amelia lifted up her face and, just as Subaru expected, the subject was the girl she'd attempted to hide from. "Subaru, about that girl from earlier. Where did... Why were you... Amelia-tan? What, were you jealous? We're at the point where you're just burning with envy?" "Subaru." With just one word, Amelia cut off Subaru's typically glib reply. She had a solemn expression, and the tension in her cheeks told even Subaru that bad jokes weren't going to cut it. Amelia-tan, what's with the really serious look?" "Please, Subaru, don't make light of this. Why were you with that girl?" Amelia seemed to want to hear something from Subaru. It threw him off, but he sank into thought to try to give her the earnest reply she sought. But just as Subaru focused properly about things for once. His efforts were for naught as an angry, rough, and coarse shout interrupted their conversation. "Finally found ya! You're a lot of trouble, damn it! At the voice, Subaru scanned the area, aghast. Roughnecks were on both sides, blocking the street to prevent their escape. Dumb of dumb, dumber and dumbest, stood at the vanguard of the men, glaring at Subaru. I've been looking for you and the woman to pay you back for making fun of me before. Subaru replied, So you brought all your friends for payback over a war of words? No matter how much you resent insult, a man with a spine wipes his own butt. That's what I always believed in. Hey, don't try to make me feel bad. What do you know about me, anyway? Subaru listened to Dumb's abuse, complete with spittle flying, as he quietly looked around. There were 15 or 16 men blocking the street. He couldn't exactly expect Reinhardt to bail him out of this one. Meaning, it's pathetic. But the best thing I can do is rely on Ameliatown and Puck, so... Puck telepathically praised Subaru's quick return to the aid of others. It really is pathetic, but I think it's commendable you accept your helplessness so quickly. Subaru felt sorry for Dumb and company, but Puck the Great Spirit could take on street thugs regardless of their numbers. It'd be Winterfest in Lagunica's summer. But before Subaru could shout, "Take it from here, maestro!" and yield the path like a villain in a historical play, a telepathic thought, rich in meaning, had arrived from Puck. You have quite a disturbing image in your mind there. But apparently I'm not needed. Faster than Subaru could ask what he meant, a rather scary statement came from overhead, heralding the descent of a certain blue-haired maid. I came here tracking Subaru's scent. What kind of disturbance is this? Tumbling end over end, she descended. Rem held down the hem of her skirt and landed with a boom. She brushed the dust from her sleeves as everyone gawked at her. Rem made an adorable little tilt of her head. So, Subaru, do you have something you wish to say to me? Subaru pointed at her feet and voiced his question. Let me start with her. He's, not dead, is he? Rem lowered her gaze. Underneath lay Dumb, smashed to the ground the moment she landed. Head buried in the city street, the hoodlum said one last thing before he ceased to move altogether. Not another maid. Rem slowly nodded. He is breathing. It's all good, then. That's Rem for you, the all-purpose maid everyone wants in their time of need. Oh no. Saying how you can do nothing without me. You are making me blush. Subaru and Rem engaged in their daily routine, even as Rem's violence had the thugs reeling. Subaru's praise made Rem's cheeks go red as she demurred. In the meantime, the men gradually regained their bearings. Don't toy with us here. You really think you're getting out of this alive? Rem's voice lowered as she switched to her motionless work mode. I judge that these men are threatening Subaru and Lady Amelia's safety. The hooligans faltered at the change. Subaru felt a pang of pity for them while raising a finger to Rem. Rem. Yes? Don't kill them, okay? You are as kind as ever, Subaru. I shall have killed them, then. In a miraculous combination of equal parts violence and loveliness, Rem leaped into the mob. Some lunged at her only to be thrashed. Others turned tail and ran. Others still squatted down and cowered, unable to grasp what was going on. Rem heaped punishment upon them all impartially. Subaru gawked at the sight of people flying through the air like they weighed nothing. Whoa, that's amazing. The impending end of the strife before his eyes filled Subaru's head with tranquility, as if he were removed from the uproar. He never even noticed the violet eyes staring at him, nor the pleading murmur that accompanied them. Subaru. So that's why we're gonna rough you up a little. Just a little wee bit, said a thug to the girl. The men blocking off the road and laughing lewdly included Dumber and Dumbest. Their group, separate from Dumb's, had surrounded the girl and her companion. They didn't need to put into words exactly what kind of payback they had in mind after capturing her. The vulgar lust in their eyes said it all. But the girl paid the men around her no heed as she brought the slice of apple to her lips. Bittersweet. It is indeed an apple on the inside. I am forced to conclude that the clown from earlier did not simply dye them red as some kind of joke. So apples are indeed this color? I am shocked. Al replied, Hey, princess, do you see what's happening here? Whatever you wish to say, speak it clearly. I dislike all this indirectness. Fine, I'll come right out and say it. There's 2 apples, so ain't one of 'em mine? Ha! How absurd. Now hear this. I caught both apples that the clown tossed. Consequently, both are mine. It's common sense that if you have 2 of something and 2 people, each of 'em takes 1. The disregard of both master and servant drove the ruffian's anger to its limit. With clear malice, each one drew his blade as it began to tighten the circle. Now asked her, So, princess, what about what the world around you wants? My choice is the world's choice. You should bear that in mind, Al. I'll try. The girl nodded with satisfaction at Al's words and resumed nibbling on her apple. Her cheeks relaxed at the bittersweet taste, bringing an angelic smile over her beautiful face. And as if ripping off an insect's wings with cherubic innocence, she stated matter-of-factly, I am now in a very good mood. Consequently, you may spare their lives. Hearing those words, Al put his hand on the handle of a large sword sheathed horizontally behind his hip. There was a slow shing, the sound of a blade being drawn from its sheath. With that as background music, he stated, Aye, aye, ma'am. The smile under the pitch-black helmet was vivid and fierce. Okay, I finished up this chapter. Chapter 2 done. As you can see, I'm doing a bit longer episodes. I've upped my episode length a little because I'm reading generally better, which is great. Or at least it feels like I'm reading faster with how I'm doing things now. Editing too. But, ignoring that. The reason why, if you're curious, the reason why Al's voice is so similar to Subaru's is because there is a theory, and I personally believe this theory, that Al is Subaru. There's some evidence for that. If you're curious, look it up. They look very similar. That's one of the biggest points. But, especially reading this, there are a few things that really, in my mind, point to that. I mean, the fact that he pretty quickly found Subaru and the princess together, I mean, that's something that would make sense for, if this is Subaru older or something, it would make sense for that to happen. There's probably never going to be proof of this until we finish the story, and the series isn't done. So, good luck proving that right now, for sure. But, I'm just going on a stinking ramble. Yeah, I always say that. Deal with it. I know you thought it. You did. You did because I would have thought it. Thank you for enjoying this part. This one's... Actually, it's only 4 parts. 4 parts feels so short when I'm doing a No Game No Life that is going to hit 7 parts. Um, that that is stinking nuts. Um, yeah, it's going very long. I just finished that earlier. So now I finished both these chapters. So once I get these edited, hey, a week breaks. I'll probably keep reading this. I was actually excited to keep reading this. I mean, chapter 3 on the very worst of terms. How far am I? Actually, quite a bit less than No Game No Life right now. I think I'm only 36. I'm at like 50 on No Game No Life. That's because I don't know. I got stuck into it. I'm been enjoying that a bit more than this so far. Just this book is being a bit slow to start off with. No, that's a bad thing. I mean, this is entering a new arc after all. That's to be expected. Well, with all of my ranting going on and on. Oh, yeah. Thank you for listening. And I hope to see you next week. Even all of y'all that don't comment. I'd love to hear from you if you want to. I'll see you next week. Bye bye.